Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Guile treatment. I'm here with Chris Smith today. No special guest. We're just
No,
gonna do it
no,
solo.
yeah, we're just
Uh,
soloing it today.
maybe with a guest appearance by Ace or Daphne.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
but I guess we are recording this past weekend. There were a couple events.
Yep.
There was the Vegas PTC, won by the other Spike,
hmm
as played by Scott Sundman.
Your boy Penis.
Your boy Penis.
Yeah.
And we also had the finale of the Atlanta circuit,
Yep.
or whatever they're calling it. I don't know if it's like the
It's a
Southeast.
regional
Whatever.
series or something like that.
Sure. The series of tournaments they've had down in Georgia, and that was taken down by Keenan Meadows, who is playing a Water Yamato man.
Gateway Shuffle's
and-
first appearance in a top cut, by the way.
What?
His
Oh,
deck.
Gateway?
Yeah. it was
Well,
Ga-
I mean,
yeah.
the whole tournament was top 8, so.
Yeah, I know, but see, I have a theory about his deck though. So when we get into it, it's because theirs was seeding determined who went first in games, so he got to
Did
go.
it?
He got to go first in every game. So
Ooh.
playing Yamato Man going first, you're
Yeah,
gonna
that's awesome.
yeah, you're gonna blow out everybody. Yeah, for
Yeah.
the most part. Yeah,
So that's just a good meta
it's
choice.
a good meta choice. Yep.
I'm actually a little bummed about his deck just because I've been working on a Water Yamato man that is extremely similar to
Sure.
what his
So was
list ends up
Church.
being.
Church was too.
And so now I'm just a biter. But
Mm.
I know also both of us played some UFS this weekend. You
Yep.
had a turbo thing.
Mhm.
I had a little draft I went to
Yeah.
down in Pocoson.
Yep.
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Paquasol, I don't know.
Whatever. The
I don't
place
know.
where there's going to be a PTC in September this year.
That's cool.
The guys down in Virginia.
Awesome.
They didn't have a ton of people there. I think there was a bunch of people who were down at I think there was like a GP in like Charlotte or something.
Okay.
So because they have a bunch of Magic players, so they were at a different
Sure.
tournament. And then there was I know there was a big Dragon Ball Super tournament as well that was maybe in one of the Carolinas. I'm not sure.
It's like 300 people.
So they had some people down there too. So
Those things get like 200 to 300 people, man. That's nuts. It's crazy.
So,
All right.
I guess what do you want to?
You want to kick off with you want to do the Vegas PTC first, and then we can just
Sure.
work our way down to the littler things. So,
Sure.
do you want to start top, or you want to start at the bottom and work our way up,
I don't even think. I mean,
or you just
I don't
want
know
to
if
just
I
talk
wanna,
about?
necessarily go even into the list.
Yeah,
that
we
much.
could just
We
talk
can
about
kind
tops.
of read those.
It's fine. It was.
I
Go ahead.
actually wanted to talk about a little bit in general.
Oh, that's fine.
So one of the big things, I guess, first off, I think we should say kudos on the coverage.
Oh, yes.
A lot better.
Yes.
We
Way
got
better.
basically round by round updates.
Mhm.
They're a bit slow sometimes, but that's fine. I
We had a
we still
character
got it.
list after round 2 or 1.
I
One of
think
the two.
it was before round. I think it was before they even posted round one's pairings. We
Okay.
had a full list of characters being played,
That's
so that
good.
was great.
That's great.
And the big thing about it was how highly represented Bebop was. I think there were 40 participants at this,
39
and
or
there
40.
there was one jet, which ended up being 2 jets.
hmm
Because there was a Dalsim that was really a jet deck that played as jet in
Yep.
games 2 and 3 of every match.
I don't even think it mattered. He'd always side into him.
So there was one jet. There were, let's see, and then everything. So there were, let's see, one jet. There were 3. There were 3 phase.
Yep.
There were 3 spike ones. There were 3 vicious.
There was
There were
2.
3 ed 9.
Was there
And there
4
were
spike
4
twos?
spike 2s.
Yeah. And then there was 3 twinkles? 3 or 4 twinkles.
Right, yeah, there were also 3 twinkles.
Yeah.
So I think the only characters from Bebop that didn't get played
Mad
were Mad Pro, which I don't think is shocking.
Yeah.
Although I think he might have been a better sandbag than Dalsim for the
Mhm.
jet deck.
Mm-hmm.
And Asimov and Katarina, much to your disappointment, I'm sure.
I'm so sad about that.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so let's see. So that's hold on. So what is it? 4 characters that had 3 ups, or was it 5?
It was 4, I believe.
Okay.
I can
let's
look
see,
it up.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but I think it ended up being that it was like 18 or 19 people at the tournament were playing Bebop characters. So it was effectively like 50% of the field was characters from Bebop.
Didn't Jeremy say like 11 of top 16 were Bebop characters? If you want to, you can say 12, including
I think so. So yeah, I don't know if it was top 16. It might have been, but I think it was of the decks that actually finished the day with a winning record. I think it was 15 or 16 of them, and I believe 11 were Bebop characters, and the other one was Dulcine, and then there was a Dulcine that was, also was half Jet.
3 Ed 9, 3 Faye, 3 Spike 1s, 4 Spike 2s, 3 Vicious, and 3... Yeah, so 5 of them had 3 of.
Okay, so it was 5 with 3 of, so that's 15. Then it was 4 Spike 2s, which is 19. Which is 19, and then a Jet, which is 20.
Yep.
So
half a field, man.
Out of 40 players were playing a Bebop character.
That has to say something about the power level of the set. By far, I think.
I mean, I don't think there were really a lot of doubts about it.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But it's definitely something that I guess it's sort of one of those things I don't know if I expected to see it this quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I didn't like maybe Spike 2 because he, the Kevin's challenge. And
I think Spike 2 and Twinkle are less of a surprise. Right. I mean, there was the challenge for Spike 2, which somewhat humorously, I know the guy on stream who topped with Spike 2 was talking to Big Johnson during their match and said, "I just played Spike 2 to get that diversity prize." So, man, obviously, hey, that guy, wasn't even trying to top. He was just trying to get paid.
That's got to say something, man. That's like, it wasn't even trying, So, my big surprise was the 3 Ed 9s, or even the 3 Fays, because the Faye just seems for this meta, too fair and slow.
The thing about Faye, I think a lot of people saw Faye having a lot of success in draft. I think she definitely seemed to be a character that performed way better than I expected in a lot of the early drafts. Yeah. So obviously she's sort of a fanboy favorite, if you will. So I think the other thing too, I mean, I heard, was it Willie, I believe, was playing a Faye that was allegedly doing some pretty crazy stuff with Dancing Flash.
Okay.
And some others. I mean, I think that there's some cool things you can do with there. But, I mean, you can see, none of them topped. So
not to the level of,
none of them and none of the Ed 9s topped. So I think that they're definitely people that, you could see one getting into tops. But they're much more likely to be kind of that, upper range mid-tables. They're not nearly as sort of ridiculous as the Spikes and Twinkle and probably Jet. I know that Omaha has been talking about him a lot. Yeah. And we've talked a bit too, because the deck that Big Johnson was playing was
Punch and Judy.
It was Punch and Judy.
It was
and I know
that
we sort of joked about that, pretty much I think the night the set got spoiled. Yeah. And we were joking about making a 4-attack Heidi that just used, Drew Maffei to just mill everything into your discard pile and basically just set up Punch and Judy. Yeah. And I mean, effectively, he was doing similar stuff with just Jet and Jet cards. The idea was just to mill as many cards as possible, as fast as possible, so that by about turn 3,
he
would have 50, 60% of his deck in his discard pile. And then, he would be able to stun you out and then try to throw an attack that he was putting 6, 8, or 6, 9, even 12 damage on, plus Jet, plus whatever else. So,
I had a deck
that's
similar.
definitely one way to do it, but I I think even just watching his deck, because he was on streams a lot in tops,
Mm-hmm.
sort of because I don't think he was at all during the day, and I know that we were pretty excited to see the deck, so I know we sort of requested that was the live stream for top 8. And yeah, I think just seeing the deck play, it's pretty apparent that Jet's going to have legs, even if he's not on the Punch and Judy train. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do with him that's really good.
Yeah, my first...
And, 29 life is a lot.
Yeah, my first build of that... I actually built that, but it was with Cannonade instead of, like, Missile Launcher or whatever, because I didn't own Missile Launchers, so I just borrowed Cannonades, and I thought, well, Cannonades are pretty good, so... But, yeah, there's some legs there, and, like, he's, you punch and Judy at cats, and after your opponent's stunned out, they're not doing anything, so... But I was really interested to see the Spike 1 builds because I've been messing with Spike 1 a lot. Finally had gotten to death like a couple weeks ago and never really put it together. So obviously it's good. So congratulations, Scott. The deck seemed like it was just like a heap of control that he wanted to get into deadlock he wanted to get the deadlock. He didn't care because actually if you think about it, you got the foundations to block deadlock effects or attacks or whatever. It doesn't really matter if they go, pick up a new attack. Okay, who cares? I can block it. And Spike 1's probably the best character, if not the best character. He's definitely up there with that speed redux and the speed bonus and whatever, all stupid damage reduction, damage pump. It's just 724.
What I've heard, like some of the Atlanta guys saying, is that Spike is basically he plays fair UFS, but like in the most unfair way. I mean that's the thing is he's 7 hand size. He's got 24 vitality.
Whoa.
He's got like
30.
He's got more because he has on character damage reduction.
Exactly.
So like he's gonna get to use that at least
4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So like effectively he has pushing 30 vitality.
Yeah.
He has on character like speed pump and reduction. Yep. And like the other thing too is, I mean, he has 2 attack. I mean, he has an unblockable attack in his Fallen Angels.
Yep.
Or it can be a what does it start out? Is it 6 speed mid for 6?
What?
Right? His attack.
Fallen Angels?
Yeah.
Angels? I know it's 6 damage. I don't know. I think the speed's like a 4. 3 or 4.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is he can flip a foundation so you can get it to easily like 6 or 7 speed.
Yeah. But then it's not unblockable.
If you don't want to make it unblockable, or it gets +6, so it's like 13. Basically Spike, that can be a 13 damage attack, or it could be a free 6.
Yep. And then he also gets Urban Shower, which makes him
that's not the other card.
I know, but my favorite card. Well, Swimming Birds is other really good card.
Yes.
But Urban Shower is ridiculous in that guy because that's a 6 low for 5. Your opponent's going to take 7. You gain 2, so he's really pushing 31 health.
Yeah.
If you say he's at 29.
Yeah. Scott's build was. We were joking. We were calling him Value Town.
Yeah, Value Town Spike.
So,
yeah.
Like Scott's build was basically a whole bunch of reversals.
Yep.
And those 2 giant spike attacks that he can easily get to be over 10 damage.
Yep.
Because what's it called is the same.
What?
Swimming Birds.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty much always gonna be a 4 diff.
Yep.
For him. And it starts at 5 mid
5. Yep. And then
even as just a 4 diff, 5 mid 5 is already a good attack.
And it has a +1 mid too, by the way. It's not a 2 check.
Sure, why not?
Okay, cool, man. Whatever.
We are 1 set removed from Street Fighter, in which the design direction was finishers shouldn't have good blocks because you should be punished for holding them.
Yep.
And we now have a starter character that has 2 attacks that can do 13 plus damage easily.
And they both have blocks.
+1 blocks. Because, sure.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So he basically could sit there and either throw an attack that's for free going to do 6, or he could wait until he had like a pretty decent attack string and he just flips whatever pieces he has like redundancy for or aren't relevant to his matchup for some free speed. They can be committed too, so Wheelman, eat your heart out. Like, something like this thing, he can use a commit and then flip it for free speed.
I know Energetic but Clumsy put in a lot of work for him. Cause
yes, that card is definitely a great tool for Spike. Just right. I mean, that's the thing is, it would help him put together these like really long and dangerous like attack strings. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, when you're finishing off with these moves that are like 13, 14, 15 damage, like, I think, didn't he have one where he had a Swimming Birds that he got like had plus 10? Yeah. Because he had like 10 face down variations?
Yeah. He would purposely just keep building. I think his whole strategy was just to stabilize through the early turns and then just blow your opponent out when you have like so many face downs. It didn't matter what they had in their hand. He would just blow them out.
Because the thing is too is like, I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, they're probably not going to have more than like 3 or 4 cards in hand.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is like throw enough attacks that they can't block them all.
Or you just get him to 6 and then you just one shot him.
Yeah.
That was another. I saw him do that too. He got someone wouldn't want. They were trying to full block because they didn't want to drop below 7 because they pretty much were dead when they hit 6 and under because they had no way to stop the unblockable. So cause it's just nuts.
I mean, it's a really good deck.
Yeah.
I would expect to see more, and I think that is even one that probably has like a little bit of room to grow as well. So we'll see.
Only one Cowboy battery because he didn't need it because he had Swimming Bird.
Pretty much.
Yep. Yeah. Another deck I'd like to talk about. Where was it? Is the Twinkle deck. It's a water version this time. Bryce Gross played it. Only 14 attacks, which was really odd. And then he played really good, and then like up in his final match, it just seemed like he felt like he needed to race the Jet deck because he was throwing away opening hands that were pretty good, and then he would just mulligan into this garbage where
here's the thing, I don't know if he was on stream earlier during the rounds or not. It definitely seemed like he was hard mulliganing for Destruction Distraction. I think he was very much on the play at turn 2 plan.
He did have a really neat combo I did want to point out was when he would use Unmet, he would bring it back in with Honky Tonk Woman committed. So it was like he'd do pluses. And then he'd also use it for Red Dragon Assassin, which is pretty sweet. That's a neat little trick right there for the water version. And then he actually gets a couple other pieces too, like High Seas Adventure off of water, which is kind of good,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really good, not only for sealing, something where you're just like, oh man, like, I don't want, like, that's a dangerous attack.
Yeah.
It's also really good if you're going after something like the alternate win, and, your opponent is just trying to dump momentum and plays like a powerful or an EX or something, and you're just like, nah. Yeah. Like, it has flash, so you're going to have to play like another attack with a momentum dump in order to get rid of it. So that's sort of like in Twinkle, I mean, that's almost like a two-way card. It can enhance your offense as well because they can't just poke to dump all their stuff. To dump
momentum. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm just really surprised. Like, he made some, not to take away, he is a world champion, so I'm not going to take away anything from Bryce, but I just thought some of his decisions were kind of weird. And I know that playing against the Big Johnson deck, things are a little different because you're kind of racing a clock. So
I mean, here's the thing too: is he won game 1, and then I believe game 2 he checked a 1 on his first card.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that I know.
Now, should that first card have been a 3-diff? Probably not. No. But
But I know Fam said that he mulliganed away like decent hands and just ended up getting bad hands. So sometimes that happens. You get UFS'd, whatever. I guess you want to say that. So. Was there a deck other than the top or anything that you'd like to talk about, like that stuck out? The Vicious deck seemed kind of cool, I
don't even know what the Vicious deck was playing.
It was weapons. It was steel res basically.
Was it all or
it was all?
Evil?
Yeah, no, it was
Okay.
all. Yeah, it was all.
Okay.
Played Cathedral, Steel Res, Syndicate Slice. It played Sakura Otoshi.
I do remember seeing that and just
That
being like,
that I don't know about that. That's
no.
weird, but
That
yeah,
almost feels like that was his like momentum dump
dump.
for Twinkle.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because
Like,
all doesn't have a
because
whole
it
lot.
has EX and multiple.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I would assume that's what that is. And then we had a Satoshi at the end, which seemed like, you know, an after. Oh, he did side Vega, so he could go into Vega if he wanted. So,
Yeah. I mean, really, I think those are the tops. The other
Yeah.
one was obviously there was a
a Woodman.
there was a pretty high profile diversity as well.
Yep.
With Cameron Cardwell was also playing Spike One, and he was on Life.
Yep.
And he and Scott Sundman ended up going to time in the final round.
Yep.
And he ended up like just losing on the strength of schedule breaker.
Yep.
Because
they got rid of the playoff thing, or is it because they played each other in rounds is why they didn't have a playoff?
I don't know. I think that's sort of what they're saying is that they didn't play in rounds, or they did play in rounds, so that they couldn't have a playoff. But it's like neither of them won.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that might be being discussed. I mean, hopefully they can figure out a way to settle that in the future a little more equitably. It sounds like what it used to be is like sometimes, basically a situation like that, they would make an exception and the two of them would play an untimed round.
Yeah.
Just so that they couldn't draw.
Yeah.
And that would have been a little more equitable than it ended up. So
but Tam was playing some like race car version with like.
See, I don't think he was. From what he said, I mean, he was running a ton of bad checks.
Yes, he was.
A ton. But from what he said, he was more running like Tengu Dive just to draw cards and build more.
Oh,
okay. I think he was pretty much actually on like kind of a stall build as well. And the idea was just sort of the same as Scott of just build your opponent into the ground and just look at them and be like, my character's better than yours.
Yeah.
So
that is true. You want to move on to the Atlanta?
We can do that. I'm trying to pull it up.
Okay. Well, I can talk about my turbo experience this weekend while you're doing that. So I went to Coliseum Games in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is about an hour northeast near Milwaukee, to go play in a turbo event, like one of those official turbo events. So
I believe they're called Premier Turbo events.
No, because there's Premier Store events that are happening over the summer, and this is not a Premier Turbo event. It's just a turbo event. But anyway, so I went there. I went there in the mindset of just playing new people. I am a proponent of no turbo. I know it's a good thing for new players, but after my experience this weekend, I don't think it is, because it doesn't really teach. It teaches how to make checks, how to play attacks, how to build. It doesn't teach people like the fine art of like sculpting an attack turn or building properly or learning how to block properly. It's basically, I rolled first. Did I get luckier than you by not checking attacks? I took Twinkle. My first round matchup, I played against a Blanca deck. Got him down to one foundation on his turn. He checked 5s the entire way and then killed me because I checked a 1 on my block. Waited in losers to play against. I played against a Heidi deck that was running cats and maybe another attacker too. He wasn't running Iron Knuckle for some reason, because that would just be insane with Heidi, I guess, whatever. But I killed him with the cats. He checked a 3 on his block, so he checked an attack. I won. And then I played Ben Lambright. We adopted him into the Rockford play group because he's the only guy in Madison, so we adopted him. He was playing Ed and 9. It was a back and forth game until I checked double 1s on the same turn, and I just scooped to him because I was on the salt mines, man. I was that little Morton girl carrying that umbrella. I was just tired of it. So I was there to play other people in Standard because I'd rather play Standard, but I played in a turbo event. Complained heavily about Matcherino. I don't know why we're using a third-party website to diversify funds between Jasco and the store.
Right.
It's just a lot easier if the store gets all the money and then they send Jasco half of it. Don't know why we have to use a third party website that you have to sign in using another third party like Facebook, Twitter, Yahoo, something else, and then use your PayPal account to pay Matcherino, and then use Matcherino to buy a ticket, and then that ticket goes to whatever account that is, and then that gets split in between. And then your redemption points aren't even available until the end of the season. So Rick Bergreen, who won playing Faye, congratulations. His deck was really cool. It was neat. Did some fun things. He doesn't get his 1,050 wrapper points until October. Why? I get it. If he wants to play in other events, okay, cool. But why can't he just redeem them as he goes and you keep a running total? I just don't get
know.
it.
I haven't played in a turbo event.
You
know, we don't have like a store to run one. Like,
I know.
I certainly wouldn't go travel to one.
Yeah. I just wanted to play new people, so that's why I went. Yeah. I was just like, well, I have a Saturday free. I'm gonna go play some new people because it's a fledgling. It's a newer store. They've only been up and running for like 4 months or so, maybe a little longer. So I did some trades, you know, and stuff like that. Played a couple of their locals. So Rockford PTC is probably gonna be a little bigger than last year because they have like 15 players and they're still growing there. We've kind of hit like a lull in player growth here in Rockford, so it's gonna be kind of nice to be able to travel, you know, 90 minutes to go play in another store. Right. So which is much more. It's just easier than traveling like 4 hours south when Corey played, or 6 hours west to Omaha or whatever. So, you know.
Speaking of 4 hours, so
go for it, man.
So that's what I did this weekend. I actually went to another Bebop draft down in Virginia, and it was pretty sweet. I remembered that I had agreed to do this at about 4 a.m.
Weren't you still up? Weren't you still up though? Like you didn't like?
Yeah, no. It was at 4 a.m. Yeah. I was sitting on my couch. I was like, man, I'm really tired. Like I'd just been playing Monster Hunter or whatever. It was one of those patented. I'll do one mission and then 5 hours later you're still sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm just there, like my eyes are getting like twitchy and stuff. I'm so tired, and I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to go to Virginia for a tournament at noon. That means Scott's probably going to pick me up at like 8. Which means I better go to sleep. So I basically like woke up. I got like 3.5 hours of sleep. Woke up, got dressed. Scott picked me up. I slept in the car, and we got there like just before noon. So they had I think 4 locals I think that were there. So it ended up being 6 of us.
Okay.
So we just did like a draft pod. I played Twinkle. Came in 3rd, and it was sort of like, I mean, it was the first time I'd actually played Twinkle. I mean, I've heard a lot about her. She's, as advertised, she's pretty dumb. And ended up losing to another guy who drafted Twinkle on open day, Distraction, so his deck was a little better than mine.
Just a little bit.
But, yeah, I mean, we got to play like a little bit of just casuals afterwards, and so that was fun. I always enjoy being able to dust off Iceman and get some wins.
Nice.
Because I certainly can't do that in many other situations. But yeah, I mean, they seem like they're doing pretty well.
Good.
We don't always see all their locals because we're usually down there on the weekend. And I know that a lot of them play other games.
Sure.
And so they end up traveling for that. But I'll definitely get down there for like their PTC in September. But yeah, I guess, I don't know how they sort of as a whole feel. I think that they know they're sort of like, man, like Bebop's really good. Like they sort of ask, they're like, are we crazy or is Bebop like really good? And we're just like, no, it is.
Yeah, it's really good.
So.
Yeah, that's the kind of I didn't really ask the guys in Kenosha about it, but they kind of knew. Like they knew that Bebop was a little better than Street Fighter. Just a little. Yeah. Not much, but you know. When we speaking of which, with Street Fighter and non-Bebop characters, the Atlanta event, actually, which would be a good segue,
There you
actually had two non-Bebop characters in the finals.
go. It did.
It did, yeah.
Well, let's see. I think they only had.
Yep.
They did have 4 Bebops.
Yep. Yes, they did.
That showed up. They had both Spikes, a Twinkle, and a Vicious.
Yes.
But 3 of those people lost in top 8.
Yes.
So.
I do believe Dave Wagner played the Twinkle deck, but that was a fever dream at 3 a.m. and he was running like 6 one-checks in that deck.
I think Dave Wagner was very much up at 5 a.m. when I was. 4 a.m., whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I think he played like 6 one-checks.
Yeah, he played Let's Party and Distraction.
Didn't bother to test his deck.
Yep.
And got paired up against Vicious in round 1 and found out that Vicious is a lot better than he thought he was.
Yeah, yeah. But let's talk about the way they ran the tournament was they had a bunch of events over the year. I think they had like 6 or something like that, and then this culminated into the top 8, so the finals, and then the winner of this would get the plane ticket to Worlds for this year. One stipulation for this event was the higher the seed, you got to choose if you basically you go first. So it would really benefit you.
So effectively, the higher seed wins the coin flip.
Correct. So Keenan was first seed. He got to go first in every game. So when you play Yamato Man going first, you don't never have to worry about that turn 2 blow up. Yeah. It's all she wrote, man.
We've had like a little bit of discussion. I think we might have, maybe not. There's been some talk. This is like a little bit of an aside. There's been some talk about like intentional draws and like what we could do to sort of like limit them, especially in like the later rounds.
Yeah.
And I think we have mentioned it, that the possibility of top 8 seeding being like this, where it determines like initiative, or who gets to pick it.
Yeah.
Because this thing is like, if you're pretty much locked in and you're like, we can just draw, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the difference between having like the 4 seed and the 5 seed is you get to pick if you go first or not,
that's huge.
I think you'd rather win.
Yeah, exactly. So, you'd play it out. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would like make a huge difference, but I bet you there'd be some people that would play.
Yeah, definitely.
So I like that would definitely be interesting. I don't know if they want to do it for like a PTC circuit, just because I don't know if people would like it, but it'd be nice to see it sort of exercised a bit, and see what the impact is. I don't know how well. Right. I don't know what Jasco can do to sort of like test some of these kind of like alternate rules.
Well,
but I was gonna say you could certainly do it in like an MCS.
Well,
or they could do it in
to continue
like a regional or something.
To continue this, I have in Rockford has proposed a similar event like this for the Rockford, Kenosha, and Madison area, where we'd have 10 events. Events 1 through 9 would be rotating between the 3 stores, and event 10 would be whoever had the highest points in home field advantage. But we could probably do that if I'm waiting for Kenosha's TO to be like, sure, we're on it.
Okay.
But we're going to do it in Rockford no matter what.
They'll do it for every top 8 instead of only the final.
Yeah, because I'd rather play it all the way out. I've never had the luxury of getting into tops, but
you were in tops plenty in MCS, man.
Oh, I know, but that's different. That's not like I don't know. But yeah, I didn't draw at all because I was always going for first seed because points mattered for finals. So the amount of wins you had would give you X amount of points to get to those final spots. So
gotcha.
I think that would be another way, like if we did like not like a Worlds or maybe like a side tournament bracket for like actual OP, that would be like, instead of player of the year just being, well, Kevin Broberg won so many events over the year, you take top 8 of player of the year and then you have them playing the tournament, or top 16, and they get to play in a side tournament for the actual player of the year, and then maybe you can determine how many points you got actually determines if you go first or not, but that also benefits more people who could travel. So I don't know if that you
Right.
can work it out that way.
So, I guess the other thing you can like to do too is, I guess the question is how many how much it benefits the higher seed.
Yeah.
So like you would just want to keep track of the number of times
Mm-hmm.
that the higher seed won,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And there's always going to be a little bit of noise in that, just because the higher seed might just have a better deck.
That's also true. Yeah.
So I mean, maybe you keep track of like whether it was a 3-game set or a 2-game set too.
Mhm.
I don't know how much data people try to hold on this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a lot of agreement that, especially right now, there's a huge advantage to going first.
Yeah, there is.
I think there always is, but especially when people are like building decks that start attacking on turn 2, like you'd like to build first.
The only game
you get to attack first.
The only game I've ever played that doesn't matter is Versus. Like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just weird.
I don't think it really matters in Magic, just because it's so much slower.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's still an advantage to it, but it's like it's much less, just because like nothing happens on. I mean, I'm not saying nothing, but like very little happens on like turn 1 or turn 2 that can like drastically.
I don't.
Like,
I've never played Magic, so I couldn't tell you. So yeah.
So
but he Keenan played Yamato Man. To go back to the Atlanta thing after the segue, he was playing Gateway Shuffle, so that's our first Gateway Shuffle deck. Hey, Gateway won a tournament, so that $35 price tag actually matters, I guess. So, but he beat Alex Marco, playing Vega, with a fever dream of Finale Rosso. He said on his he was on his weekly walks through his town. He was talking about how he likes the attack, so he likes to play Finale Rosso. I think it's a good attack. It's a nice multiple 2 attack if you're able to get the momentum for it. He was running 7-2 checks in that deck. He played 4 Finale Rosso and 3 Everywhere, because Everywhere's still a beating. If you're not ready for it, it's still a beating, guys.
Everywhere's a little rough versus Spike 2.
Yeah, it is, but I understand that, but if the Spike 2 player isn't good, or doesn't use their other second half of their character, Tim Keefe,
the Spike 2 player is your reigning world champion, you might just not use it. Enhanced defensively.
Yeah. The Vicious deck was kind of cool. I'm not going to talk about all. We had a Mexican Typhoon Tengu Man, a run for the border Tengu Man, so that's pretty spicy.
You know what? For the Vicious deck, because I think from what you said, like the 2 decks in Atlanta and Vegas were pretty similar.
Yeah, this one's way more weapon.
I think it is worth mentioning at least, just because that's definitely a deck. I think that's sort of just like the inheritor to sort of like Wheel and Steel, just without the wheel.
Yeah. Well, you have Cathedral Standoff, so that basically draws you 2 cards anyway, so you don't even need wheel.
Right. It's more just like you start with it, but it's running that. It's running like Flame Sword, which draws you more cards.
Yep.
I think basically it's, from what I saw, at least of the Atlanta list, is just like every draw effect under the sun, because all he's doing is trying to dig for as many Steel Resurrections as possible.
Yep.
The other thing too, even stuff just like Syndicate Slice or Splat, like there's a lot of cards in there that really help you with like a longer string.
Yep.
And the other thing too is, this guy wasn't even running it. It was Eliminating the Van. I
don't know why.
That
don't know why.
I have played and just been blown away.
Yeah, that card's awesome.
I played an Evil Ava deck and realized that every card that I discarded on Cats was +4 damage. And I was like, oh, I'll just throw these cards away. Sure. So, I mean, in Vicious, it's even better because you could just flip it and gain 3 life.
Yeah.
I think he was running Key Techniques, which is sort of effectively the same on defense, although it doesn't have a block, but it's the same thing, discard a card -2 damage. But it also has, I believe, an enhance of just commit, discard a card, and draw a card. So I think he's running the filter.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you don't run both. Because, I mean, I've played some other decks, too, that have sort of like a bunch of draw effects, and then I'm just like looking at it, and especially if it's like an evil or like all earth, something like that, and all of a sudden you realize like, man, I should just find a place for Eliminating the Van, because if you have something that's drawing you like 3 or 4 extra cards or something like that,
you might as well pitch it.
Then you just start throwing them away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing is like turning a card in your hand into 2 damage, like that's great, especially a dead card.
Yeah.
Like that's so big,
Mm-hmm.
and because like you start landing like a couple of them, and like someone like Vicious who's just drawing cards anyway. Man, yeah, that card's solid.
The deck looks really good. And it looks like a lot of fun, by the way, because it's just who doesn't like drawing cards, and you get to play the bastard child out of the turbo deck. So because Spike 1, obviously maybe a little
Yeah, I don't really know. So like I don't think that this deck is really one that's like all about like flipping your bonus stationary.
I think it's just about.
I think it's more about like the second enhance, which is just free damage and draw cards.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad.
That's what is that for 1 life then?
Yeah, it's 1.
It's for 1 life. That's way easier to. Maybe that's why he doesn't have eliminating in the van because it's only 1 life.
It might be.
So
yeah,
but I think I'd still play eliminating the van too because you don't need 4 egotistical. I don't think so. No. You usually only need 1 or 2. So
you. I don't know if you ever need more than 1,
but like the Huitzel was there. He probably got banged a lot.
So actually, can I talk about that? There was one card in Huitzel that jumped out at me, and I was like, "That's awesome."
Was it Presidente on the house?
No.
Okay.
It was Fire Slam.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and I just like looked at it, and I was like, "Man, like that's so you can play." Like your attack, you can play some attack and do his enhance, and then whatever, and they block it and they take half, and you pick it up and you throw it again, and like whatever, and then even after that, like you can also just throw, like or so for instance, like let's say it's more of like a poke turn, if there even is that, like a 4-hander.
Yeah,
I mean you can play an attack, even if they block it, they take half. You pick it back up from his R, and then you can play Fire Slam. And his enhance, and then even if they block it, they take half.
Because if it deals damage, right?
Yeah, I think it's like if it deals damage, you can return it to your hand at the start of the end phase. So like he can basically just be having like 2 attacks all the time.
Yeah.
And like that was something, and even at just like 4 damage, like that can still add up.
Yeah.
And it's also a +0 high block with Breaker 1.
Is it errata to have Slam on it yet?
No, they didn't errata any of the
the tin cards,
tin stuff. Yeah, it kind of would have been nice if they did that with the platinum reprints.
Yes,
they definitely could have.
Well,
and that'd be sweet.
Whenever we get the other half of platinum, which is probably.
And speaking of Vicious, I've sort of been like a little bit of a proponent of running Ice Slam in him.
Okay.
Just because like that's the kind of thing that seems really really good.
Oh, it's like a turn ender. Yeah.
Because it's like 2 diff multiple 1.
Yeah.
And especially if you're on like evil, you give it 2+2 from him, and then you can get like then it's 4 for like Robot Masters.
Yeah.
I mean, so you pretty much have like a 2 diff attack that's 10 damage.
Wow, that sounds pretty good actually.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
So.
Let's see here. The Dave ended up in 7th playing Let's Party Twinkle. Spike 1 finished last. That was a death weapons variant with Matt Childress playing him. Hyperbomb, Raging Slash. Is
Hyperbomb? I don't know. I've soured on Hyperbomb a lot.
I still like it in Chaos Yamato because it actually matters because you can get it to 6 speed. So that's not
especially in Spike. I mean, Spike has part of the selling point of Spike is he's got like 24 life.
Yeah.
Like how often are you going to get to use that like destruction enhance?
Like against 6-handers, yes, but against other 7-handers, not really.
If you haven't landed an attack.
Yeah, that's also true. Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But congratulations to Keenan. He gets his plane ticket for free. That was the prize. I made a joke on him posting the list that his deck beat Booty so fast the character's all fuzzy because it's not in focus.
Yeah, it's just really small.
I guess that I guess people got up during game 2 against Alex Marco, returned, and the game was over. From
what I heard, the kill turn was basically like focus charge into a rolling cutter
double.
It had like double gateway on it, and then a bang.
Ooh, finger guns.
Yeah, So it was like 17 and
Yeah.
then 3 burn.
3 burn.
So, yeah.
On turn 2 too, guys. That's the way you beat Vega. You just OTK him really fast. You just
Sure, why
gotta
not?
just one-shot him from 19. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, I mean, when you have something that's coming in at what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so like 10 speed for like 19 damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about like a chaos weapons variant with Asimov and Katarina because I really want to play them. But you get to use Little Spear because it's basically a 6/6 already, and then you just keep using their enhances to make it bigger, and then you just gateway everybody, and it's like, yeah, good game, have fun. But it's Asimov and Katarina. They play too fair, so poor Tijuana groceries. But yeah, we have Atlanta coming up in 2 weeks for the PTC. You going?
I hope so. I'm planning on it right now, but
sure.
Yeah.
I do know some news out of my I want to know about Worlds post is that there is hotel blocks. So there's that, kids. And we are getting badges. We know that. There's still no words on if MK is coming out before. I don't think so. I think it's going to be like a Street Fighter thing where they're going to give it away as prizing, which makes sense. So I don't see them. They normally don't push out stuff weeks before. They've usually that's one thing I've liked about that is that they don't just dump a product on you 2 weeks beforehand. But there's always the first time. But I know that because I'm looking to play a Neomax character at Worlds for singles for fun because I just don't care anymore. I want to win teams. Winning teams is probably the one I'm going to try harder. Garrett made a joke that I've never tried at an event before, which is true. Whatever. I just think that I think I'm getting burnt out on a lot of things. So I'm kind of scaling back content. I'm scaling back playing like hardcore and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna reset my bearings by playing Roberto. So yeah, good old Roberto. Plus he's anti-Twinkle because he has a free powerful enhance on his character, and she can't stop it. So I can get powerful whatever for free.
Well, and she can stop powerful.
Oh yeah, but she can't stop my dump though. He can take huge dumps all over her, by the way, and still play Celestial Beam, by the way, if you're playing Death. So but yeah. Anything coming up for you, UFS wise? Other than that, where do you look?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Atlanta.
Yeah.
But the next thing I'd be going to after that would probably be like Worlds.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I think there's like a PTC or two.
There's at least
maybe.
Let's see what we got. We got Atlanta in March.
Mm-hmm.
April. Let me pull up my pictures. Like I have it saved. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, and because the one in
April's
May
in Lubbock.
Okay.
And then May.
I won't be going to Texas.
And then in May we have Worlds at the beginning of the month, and then on the 19th and 20th is in Indy. So I'll be going to that one. It's within driving distance. It's like 3 hours. I can do that in a day. So, and then just stay the night at Sean's house. Sean, I need a room. Let me know. And then we have Omaha in June. And then the Rockford PTC in July. So we're in the warm months this year, kids. So bring your swimming trunks. No one has a pool.
What? Do you have a pool?
No, I don't have a pool.
Oh, man.
You've been at my house. You've seen the backyard.
Hey, I thought you were moving, right?
No, I don't know if that's going to happen now. I don't know. But, yeah. The world should be pretty exciting. Maybe we'll get like 7 or 8 Spike 1, Spike 2s, and Twinkles, and then everyone will chant ban that shit after it, like they did with Zoe last year.
I mean, what I was sort of saying, I was like, okay, well, let's say, Vegas. So Vegas was 50% Cowboy Bebop characters. Yeah. Can you imagine if Worlds is like 120 people and 60 people show up with Bebop characters? Because, dude, what's diversity gonna look like, man?
It's like you could have
top 16. It'll be like, and in 42nd place we have like Ringman.
Yeah, I know, right?
Welcome to top 16.
Yeah, it's like welcome to. It's like there'll be like 3-3-2, or maybe a 2-3-3 or whatever. I don't know, 8 rounds of Swiss. Who knows? But I'm more looking forward to teams. I'm teaming with Church and Rodney, so I'm looking more forward to teams than I am singles, because singles I'm just gonna try to have fun and maybe play drunk the entire time. That may be a first for me.
Is that going to be possible at the convention center? I don't know.
Do I care? I'm UFS dad. I can do whatever I want.
There you go.
But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're almost to an hour actually, but we didn't really talk a lot about each individual decks. But what are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to in Atlanta? Why I got you on here? What are you looking forward to other than like beating your head against the Bebop wall?
I guess seeing all the people in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not looking forward to playing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. I just. Yeah, I'm not.
You're not gonna go down that. You're not gonna.
No.
Don't want to go down that path.
No,
that's all
not
right.
tonight. I'll tell you what. After Atlanta.
Yeah.
We can talk about Atlanta.
I do want to have an in memoriam spot. I did have a longtime player quit on me today. He just didn't have the time. He doesn't have the money to keep up because he feels Bebop. I guess we can go on the salt train right now. Bebop. He just feels like his collection, what he has now, isn't up to par with what Bebop brings. And I understand.
Well, how long and how long has he been playing?
He's been playing a year shorter than me, I think. So 3
like,
years.
What was the first set that he got?
Rise of the Masters, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little.
So he
maybe
started about the same time that I did.
Warriors of the Night, most likely. I think that was his next real set was that. So,
right, because that's when I got. I got in after Rise, but when Rise was still the most recent set, so like we basically got in at the same time.
So he feels like he just can't keep up. He has a new kid. His kid's about a year, so he doesn't have a lot of time. And with that comes
doesn't want to do like a case split because he has to pay for important things. Like
and I was talking to Shane about it, and he's like, "Well, you don't need all the ultra rares from the set, but you kind of do."
I mean, you don't need all of them.
No, but like if he wants to play like Ed 9, you're looking at like $50 to $60 just on the rares and ultra rares alone. Like I even offered him an entire Ed 9 deck. I was like, here, you can have all my Ed 9 stuff. I don't need it. I'm not going to play them. And he turned me down because he got blown out by Trent's Twinkle deck last week or the week before, and his deck wasn't prepared for it. He's a casual. He's just playing to have fun and hang out, and it soured him so bad. And he's just like, I was done. He was pissed. Like he didn't want to be talked to.
Is he playing Ed 9 or was he playing something else?
No, he was playing something else. He's playing.
I know like he's played like Bale Cure and stuff. I've seen that on stream.
Yeah.
I know he's not out there, spike player playing the best deck,
he's just
playing cards, doing whatever.
He topped with Tengu Man at one of the Rockford events, so he's looking to have fun, and it's just not fun for him anymore. And I feel bad because I feel like I let him down because we shouldn't. I understand that we have our nights where we need to test, but
here's the thing:
we just don't have to play like that all the time.
I don't necessarily. Again, I don't have like a local to sort of foster and try to keep everyone happy. So, right. I mean, I can't speak to necessarily what it's like having like casuals in the Bebop meta.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is if you're gonna have a character like Twinkle, if you're gonna have a character like Spike 2. The thing is, you're going to be playing a deck that's pretty easily 60, 70% Bebop cards anyway.
Yeah.
And sure, you can mix in some other stuff, but, somebody like that, I think it's got to be frustrating if you feel like you're just getting blown out by some deck that is completely new cards. Because, like you said, he's going to be like, well, I've been playing for 2.5 years, and what do I have to show for it? It's like I can't show up with these. Like, it's like you might still be able to play the old characters, but some of these new cards are just so good. Like you almost need to play them, or you're just leaving power on the table.
He was playing Sheepman, and
I think Sheepman should probably be decent.
Yeah, but it just I think he got blown out on game 1 with 2 distractions after an attack or whatever. And then he went in Nate was going in on turn 2, did something. Trent canceled with Twinkle and showed a hand of 3 revokes and a Teddy Bomber in his hand.
So here's the other
Which
thing,
is
too.
weird
I mean,
for the
here's thing,
first
I
part.
mean,
Yeah.
partially it sounds like Trent's playing like a pretty good deck.
Yeah.
Or at least like a fairly tuned deck.
Yeah.
But the thing about like basically, so like the thing about like Twinkle, the thing about like Spike 1, Spike 2
Mm-hmm.
is mediocre versions of those decks are still good decks.
Yes, they are.
Like fanboy versions of those decks
Mm-hmm.
are good decks.
Yes.
So like the thing is you know, you could have somebody that shows up and they're like, I'm playing BB Hood and I'm playing all BB Hood stuff. And you're like, okay. I mean, her you know, she has a bunch of little attacks, like they have her face on it, but they're okay. I mean, you have someone showing up with like a Twinkle deck and they're like, yeah, I'm playing all Twinkle's attacks. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. So you're playing like a 4 diff that's minimum like 9 speed for 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're playing a card that debuilds 2 of my foundations and can instant win you the game. Okay. You know, you're playing like a 3 diff, 0 high breaker 2 that
gives
like,
me more damage on other attacks.
You know, plus 2, 3, 4 damage to every single other attack you play this turn.
Yeah.
You know, like those are so, and you know, sure. I mean, maybe you don't have 4 viruses, maybe you don't have 4 destruction distractions, but I mean, the way a lot of groups work, it seems like
just share cards.
You know, they or either that or they trade. You know, someone's like, I opened Ed stuff, you want Ed stuff, give me Twinkle stuff, and they switch. So like, typically there's going to be someone that has at least 4 destruction distractions because if you're playing Twinkle, you're playing that card.
Yes.
And sort of the same thing with Spike. I mean, Spike 2. You know, if you have M3C, if you have Plasma Cannon, and and all his other, I mean, even his commons and uncommons are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Urban Shower
is ridiculous.
Space Salvo, just stuff like that. I mean, like Space Salvo is so easy to just go like 5 damage, like 6 damage, and then some other amount of card for free, and it's going to get +2/+1 on it.
Yeah.
I mean, he can just throw out like 15, 20 damage like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is if you're just playing kind of like casual decks, like a casual version of a Bebop deck is still ridiculous.
Like Asimov and Katarina are probably the fairest characters in that set, and Ben Lambright played against my Vega deck with like a mangled A and K and just obliterated me. Like he would just throw reversals out because they're awesome with reversals. Like Tiger Uppercut or even Flail Strike. And he was getting like 12, 13 damage and like 6 speed on these things. So it's just like...
I just don't think it's good. I mean, I think it moves product.
Yeah.
But I just think it's frustrating.
Which technically is a goal of theirs, which I understand. They need to sell cards to keep going. I get that. Mm-hmm. But like we said earlier before recording, there's power creep, and then there's this. Yeah. Like it seems like we're here with Bebop, and we really should be like somewhere in here.
Right.
Slowly go up to that.
The thing is like I don't think the power level was the problem. Oh, we got a Daphne Slade.
Hi, Ace. Hi, Daphne.
I don't think that like the power level in Street Fighter was so much the problem. I think it was just kind of like a little boring.
Yeah.
Hi. I don't know. I feel like we talk about this like all the time. Every time we talk about Bebop, we just talk about like the power level.
So, but like, I know. There was on the Discord. There was if you play these cards and you can't find them, you can find replacements for them, and I don't feel like the Bebop Ultra Rares have that. Like in UFS, it's kind of hard because you don't have cards that do the exact same thing that are understated. Well,
I mean, the thing too is like because so much stuff, especially now, there's so much stuff that's like keyword gated.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, just think about. So like, for instance, I had sort of like a joke deck that the idea. Yeah, I mean, you played it, the Vincent Gray deck, where the idea was to use like. To remove a
getaway fire,
and then copy it with Tech Sphere, and then basically like loop it. Well, the thing is like there's literally one card that has good and fire and is tech.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, okay, fine, forget that. Well, I need tech attacks, and they need to have a symbol, like basically. So if I'm playing Vincent, they need to have evil or fire.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you just sort of get into that where, right? I mean, for Spike too. I mean, you have to play tech cards.
Mm-hmm.
So effectively, you need to play his stuff.
His stuff and what,
Or
Iron
you need
Grit?
to play Heidi stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, sure, some of the Heidi stuff isn't, like, rare. I mean, you can play, like, Iron Knuckle.
Yep.
Or, actually...
I think it's it.
I think it is it, because I think they banned Sturmwolf.
The Sturmwolf's banned. Thank goodness Sturmwolf is banned. Jesus Christ.
The Dagger Strike is a weapon. That's not a tech. I mean, you might still run it because it reduces techs.
Mm-hmm.
But the big ones, Panzerbreakers are rare.
Yep.
Cannonades an ultra rare.
Yep.
And I think that's it, isn't it?
Because you wouldn't play Corkscrew with Spike anyway. So
but that's a weapon. Wouldn't, but also that's an ultra rare, and it's not tech.
Yeah, and it's not tech, so you wouldn't play it anyway.
It's Fury and weapon.
Yeah.
So, but right, okay, so there you go, and then of Spike stuff. I mean, sure, there's a lot of commons and uncommons, but you're playing Spike stuff.
Yeah.
And really, that's the thing, is all you need a couple copies of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I mean, just compare like M3C to like Rainflush.
Yeah, it's not the same.
And the thing is that M3C isn't really very good in anyone else.
No, just in Spike.
But when you're playing against Spike 2, and he throws that out on you on turn 2, and all of a sudden you have like 18 damage coming at you, and when he's done, he does it again.
Yeah. Because I would also compare Plasma Cannon to Rainflush, and its Plasma Cannon is still head and shoulders above Rainflush. It has multiple. It readies. It's essentially a 4-diff anyways, and it's a 3-check with a block with a better block, I should say, and it's 12 damage instead of 10. But it just is what it is. I know we seem like we're on the downturn of the salt train for Bebop, but I really hope MK turns some things around. Like I would be fine if it's the same power level, just as long as we don't just keep going like sky high. I don't know.
If it's this, I think the same power level is just, it's going to be this. I don't know. I don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Because if it's less, then you're basically just stuck with this like outlier set that's ridiculous, and you're basically going to end up just forced to be like banning stuff if you basically want new cards and some of the old cards to be like meta relevant.
Yeah.
Well, at least from a character standpoint, there's still some decent ones, but I mean, all you have to do is like look at Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
was there even a KOF character played? Was there a pre-Battle for Power?
There's 20 other people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was Battle for Power? I'm sure there was like a Yamato Man or like a Tomahawk Man or something. I mean, I know there was like a Cossack. I know there was a Yellow Devil. Yeah. Because that was like round 2 or 3, and people were like, "Whoa, what are these doing?" And they're like, "Oh, we're streaming from table 17." Oh. And it was like, "Oh."
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
It's crazy. Let's just hope. I'm just hoping. Hopefully we get some new worlds news soon. Because after I post something on Facebook, you don't know though. You never know. So, and remember, kids, never tag.
State of the game a month ago, right?
We're never tag JT in anything because he doesn't make decisions. He's only the art guy who makes giant mouse pads. Okay, kids, gotcha. Don't tag him anymore in anything unless you need a giant mouse pad, of course. So.
And then come on down to Chris Smith's Giant Mousepad Emporium.
Yeah, actually, he said that in the post that if they can use my room as a catalog, I'm like, as long as he comes over and makes some of that weird food that he makes on his cookbooks. So he always posts food. It always looks good. It's straight vegetarian, but it looks good. So I don't know. I guess if it looks good, it should taste good. So
I don't know if that works. But
I don't know either. I know I don't eat anything that doesn't smell weird. I know that. So, but with that, I guess we should probably bring this episode to a close. So, but I guess everyone have a good night. Thanks, Rob, and
no problem.
Keep hitting the pavement out there, guys, with those Bebop cards. Little plug, I have an eBay store. Buy from me. I'm undercutting everybody because I'm trying to drive prices down instead of having them go up.
What a man of the people.
I'm trying to, man. Free shipping on everything. So, hey, Scott bought cards from me. He bought 2 bangs.
Okay.
Says I was a really great seller. So thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. Have a good night.